Welcome to Ask Between the Keyframes on Motionographer.
What up, Austin?
What's up?
Oh, we're here again. Ask Between the Keyframes. We got another great question. You want me to read
it? Yeah, let's hear this.
So this came from Abdo Fozzie. This is really bringing out my Long Island accent there, so I hope I didn't butcher your name. He's asking an amazing question. He shared his reel, and he asked, am I a junior or senior designer? I saw someone who worked for an agency for 4 months, and they started calling themselves senior, but what actually defines that, and how should I represent myself? So let's talk about variable one, like probably the most important thing, and that's time and experience. I would say if you have under 3 years of experience, you are without question a junior animator.
What do you think if somebody who does like a 4-year program and then like a focused program in motion design, obviously upon graduation they're still junior, but how do you feel like that could potentially trim some of that time down if they're in the right place with the right training? You're like, nope.
No,
they're junior.
Because they're junior, because they haven't been. To me, no matter how great somebody comes in and how far along as an animator they are, there's still like paradigms that you're in and just emotional intelligence around how a job flows and where it goes, and like how you take criticism and how you apply that criticism that, like, quite frankly, school doesn't teach you. Like, you have crit in school and you can apply that or not apply that. It doesn't matter. In the world, when you have layers of clients, you have to navigate that, and you only learn that by doing it.
There's a reason that the junior rate is less, because the expectations and responsibility are less, right? Like, so until you're kind of ready to field kind of whatever comes up with your toolkit and be able to be nimble and adapt on the fly, like that's kind of that kind of experience and ability, I think, is where you start promoting from junior to intermediate, and then eventually to senior.
Yeah. So 3 years, I think it takes for those junior kind of things to shake themselves out. A motion designer, and you can be a motion designer for many, many years. Like, you don't have to necessarily even transition to senior. Like, if you've been doing it for a really long time, you should transition to a senior. But I think that transition happens around 7 years, 7+ years. And I know by today's standards, like, everybody just gasped when they heard me say that. But, you've been 3 years of a junior motion designer, another 4 years of really what I would say mastering your craft, and to be able to not only do the job well, but to be predictive, to build your files accurately, to transition from just the maker into a slightly mentory type place where when you're senior, you can handle your own comp. You can make sure everybody's comps are feeding into your comp well, to really navigate, appropriately. So I think that happens at 7 years. If somebody is like just incredibly talented, they might go a little bit quicker. If they do have some kind of education that, like, they come out like a torpedo, I still think those 3 years are gonna be junior, but potentially the middle years to senior might go a little bit quicker. Other things like reliability. If you're a really, really great animator but not reliable, you're never going to get that senior position, ever.
You can be great anything and not reliable, and see ya. Like, maybe we'll hire you to do some cool like style frames or illustrations and hope you get them done in time, and then say bye.
And that gets into like responsibility and expectation setting. If you're on the more junior side, you might not know how long something's going to take you. You might say it's going to take you 2 hours and it takes you 2 days. But if you're a senior level position, like, that's not acceptable. You got to be able to call it. I think, the more senior you are, the more that bad news doesn't age well, right? So like when you're a junior artist, you might just be like, oh, okay. And then it's getting closer and closer to the deadline, and you might not say until the deadline, like, I'm not going to have this done. Well, that's not going to age well. Like, It's better for the producer to be able to reach out to the client early in the process and say, like, prepare your client, we're not going to be ready. If you do that right when you're supposed to be sending it, that's not going to go well. That's bad client management. With a junior artist, a producer will check in a little bit more, get that information out of them, be looking over their shoulder.
The other thing too is, like, as a junior, you can ask those questions. It's okay to be like, hey, I don't know how to do this thing. Whereas all of a sudden, if I'm senior, I want a senior day rate as a freelancer, and I need my hand held like throughout, like, that's a problem.
So speed and ability to predict your turnaround times is part of what we're talking about with that. So just that you're fast, that you know what's going on when. We talked about that. Mentorship and teamwork. A senior artist knows where they fit and how they fit into the process. And if it's unclear, they will make it clear when they're going. They're like, okay, so you want me to work on this, where, blah, 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 and get directed very quickly as to what their role is. If you're a freelancer, you're like an assassin. You come in and you knock it out of the park as fast as possible. If you're coming in making a high day rate, I want you in and out as fast as possible.
See the smile? See the smile?
Yeah.
Assassin.
When you give somebody a senior title or remove that junior title, what you're doing from a perspective of seniority within the studio is saying this person has the experience required for them to move on from a mentoree to a mentor. And if somebody has under 3 years experience, I just don't think that that's possible. They still remain a mentoree. Mentee,
I think. I think it's mentee. One thing I was going to say, though, is that it sounds like if you are in a junior position, but you're working hard and you're being brought into the meetings and you're being brought in at the ground level, like, if you're being recognized and kind of given responsibility, like, you're probably on your way. You're on the trajectory.
You're on your way. Right? Don't focus on the title. Right. And I would say don't focus on the money either, because it's going to come. What you should be focused on if you're a junior is the opportunity and being mentored. Thank you, Abdo, for your question. Abdo. And thank you, Austin. That was
Thanks,
another
Erin.
good episode. Yeah. All right.
Till next time.
Thank you.